Hi, it's David Smith here again. We're going to do a quick video today. We're going to talk about the 5 skills that are going to make you economically bulletproof. All right, these are the skills that will survive everything, okay? The World Economic Forum says that 44% of workers' skills are going to be disrupted by 2027. Goldman Sachs says AI could replace the equivalent of about 300 million full-time jobs. And your economics textbook is asking you to draw a circular flow diagram. Here's the thing though, real economics, actually does prepare you for exactly this type of disruption. There are 5 skills that research consistently identifies from economics as being durable and future-proof. AI amplified rather than AI replaced. And today I'm going to show you what they are, what they look like in an economics classroom, and crucially why each one can actually help you get more marks in IB or IGCSE. So, firstly, skill number 1, model critique. AI can generate economic models now. What it can't do is judge whether the model is actually any good. Here's what this looks like in practice. Your teacher shows you a standard supply and demand diagram. Most students accept it. A model critical student might ask, what are the assumptions being made? Where does it break down? For example, a standard demand curve assumes rational consumers, perfect information. But you've read the news. You've seen people queue for hours for a product that they could buy online in 30 seconds. You've watched crypto speculation. You know that rational consumers are doing a lot of heavy lifting. Spotting where a model breaks is not being a bad economist. It is being a good economist. Here's an exam application. Every evaluation question in IBHL tends to ask you to do this. Discuss the limitations of, for example, discuss the limitations of price controls. That's a model critique. Evaluating the effectiveness of a supply-side policy, model critique. Master this skill and the evaluation questions stop being scary. Skill number 2, scenario planning. All right, ABCD. Skill number 2, scenario planning. This is the ability to navigate uncertainty, to ask not what will happen, but what makes sense across multiple possible futures. So here's a real situation. Let's try this, okay? Take any government policy. Let's take minimum wage increases. Stress test it against 3 scenarios. 1, the economy is growing. 2, there's a recession. And 3, automation is accelerating. Does the policy still make sense in all 3? Does it make things worse in any of them? We're not talking speculation here. We're talking rigorous economic analysis. It's what actual policy advisors do. An exam application. Look at your IB Paper 1 and your IG extended writing questions. They almost always have some to what extent question. That's scenario planning. You're showing the examiner that you understand context matters, that the right answer depends on different conditions. That nuance is where your highest marks will live. Skill 3, systems thinking. All right? How about this? Economics is a web of interconnections. Most students are able to see first order effects. Top economists are going to see all the way to the 3rd. Classic example is governments introducing a tax, a sugar tax. Let's try that. First order of effect, sugary drink prices rise. Tick. Most students are going to stop there, but a systems thinker asks what happens to the demand for substitute goods? What happens to the revenue for the small convenience stores? What happens to employment in the drinks industry? What are the distributional effects? Does it hit higher income households more proportionally or less proportionally because they have a higher share of income and maybe on food? Suddenly we've gone from one policy to a cascade of different economic effects. That's what evaluating policy actually looks like. Your exam application, let's see, IB, IG mark schemes explicitly reward second order or causal effects, the analysis of who benefits and who loses. Systems thinking is an extra, it's a mandatory process to get top marks. Skill 4, productive disagreement, right? Two economists arguing with each other. That's underrated. Economics is not a hard science. You got one correct answer. No, it's not. It's a discipline full of genuine, reasonable disagreement between intelligent and well-informed people. You've got Keynesians, you've got monetarists. They've been arguing for about 80 years. Both sides won Nobel Prizes. Both sides have been demonstrably correct at different times under different contexts. Productive disagreement means you can articulate the strongest version of the argument you disagree with. Not a straw man, the real thing. It's called the steel man. If you believe, not the man of steel, if you believe free markets are generally efficient, can you genuinely explain why Keynesians think markets fail? If you're a fan of government intervention, can you honestly explain public choice critiques? The ability to hold and articulate the competing views simultaneously, it's not wishy-washy. It's an intellectual exercise. So here we go, exam application. Paper 1, Part B will ask you to discuss. What is the case for? What is the case against? Have a qualified judgment. Productive disagreement is literally an exam skill. Skill number 5, data interrogation. Not data reading, data interrogation. Any student is going to be able to look at a graph and describe what that graph shows. All right? This skill is asking harder questions. Who funded the research? What is the sample size? What time period was chosen? And would a different time period show a different trend? What variable is missing that would change completely the conclusion? Quick example, if you were to see a graph showing strong correlation between years of education and lifetime earnings, it looks compelling. Education causes higher earnings, right? But what about selection effects? Maybe the people who've got the higher education already came from wealthier families. Maybe the earnings premium is from the network, not the education. The data doesn't lie, but maybe data without interrogation could mislead you. Exam applications, let's think IB Paper 2 and IG data response. They're literally testing this. They give you the data and they ask you to evaluate it. Not describe it, evaluate it. Data interrogation is the point. So there they are. Here's the big picture. 5 skills research says will survive economic disruption. AI and conveniently also happen to be exactly what your examiners are looking for. Model critique, scenario planning, systems thinking, productive disagreement, data interrogation. None of them requires a perfect textbook. All of them require a curious mind and a willingness to ask uncomfortable questions, which, now that I think about it, is exactly what economics is supposed to teach you. Here's this question. Is this what you are getting? Is that what economics is building for you? Comment below, which of those 5 skills do you think your economics education is not as good at developing? I've got a theory. Let's see if you agree. This is Econ Disrupted. I'm Econ Teach NZ. And if this kind of economics gets you more fired up than drawing PPF curves, you're going to love what's coming next. Like, comment, subscribe, share this with an economics teacher who might need to hear it. And I'll see you in the next one.